He's James Collins.
He is Alec Cranston, and this is the
Matter of Facts Podcast.
The Matter of Facts Podcast brings you the unsung heroes, the unsung stories, news and happenings from across our wonderful city that you maybe thought happened but didn't quite know the truth behind.
And get you all in the loop on what's going on, what's to come, and what can we be prepared for.
Welcome to the Matter of Facts podcast. We're recording this in March. You're probably listening to it in April. I am Canadian-born hockey star and actor Alec Cranston.
And I am Wales?
Gorgeous Welshman.
Gorgeous Welshman, Mr. James Collins, esteemed real estate agent in Halifax.
He's a good liar, this kid. So things look a little different today. Where are we?
We are at the Atlantic Real Estate Forum at the Nova Convention Centre in downtown Halifax. This is an event that happens every 2 years where all real estate agents, brokers, owners, business owners, high-level executives, investors, and developers.
Gate crashers.
Everybody you can ever think of comes together. There's 600 or 700 of us here to talk about the industry.
Hang on, is there 600 or 700 of us? Because that's a really important. I think our viewership should have true fact.
Do you have the exact number?
It's 643 attendees.
643. He could be full of crap, but 643. We're thrilled to be here. We're thrilled to be able to set up here and record live.
Yeah.
Live at this great event. So our goal today, we're going to be recording a regular episode with our regular Insane as the Crane and the Reddit Roundup and our regular banter back and forth. He's having a double rum and coke.
I'm ashamed to say that I'm a poor day drinker. This is non-alcoholic. But when I hit 30, which was only a month ago, which was a number of years ago now, my ability to day drink it just plummeted.
I haven't seen you day drink it before, but now I want to see. Now
I just fall asleep.
We're thrilled to be here. We've already had a couple guests come by to have some chats, and kind of the idea is we're hoping to nab some different people as they walk by. We've reached out to a few people to come talk to us, and we're hoping to make a really unique episode out of this one. Wouldn't you say? Yeah.
I think every episode's unique, but this one may be a little more unique than some.
We actually just had a big line behind us. The food came out. Lucky for us, we didn't have to wait in line. Actually, there's a photo, and we'll put it up at some point. James was actually the very first attendee of the entire conference to grab a plate and try and get some food, to which he was told, "You may not grab some food right now.
You may not eat right now, sir, because the spoons are not out."
The spoons ready, and he doesn't need spoons.
We had to record the podcast, and we were encroaching on lunchtime.
Exactly.
So we had a bit of a tight schedule. So I went to grab, just innocently, the food's there, it's unwrapped. You grab a plate. Typically, the way a buffet works is you grab a plate and you go to the buffet. That's how every buffet I've ever eaten in my life's ever worked. But on trying to deploy typical buffet protocol this time, I was intercepted by a very, very stern member of staff and told to wait until the spoons were put out.
And in solidarity, I went and grabbed myself a plate as well.
Because I always said I'm stuck holding a plate, and I can't
put it back
down
at that point, right?
No.
You've already touched it. But anyways, we got our food and enjoyed our lunch, and now here we are, ready to kick things off. First and foremost, Insane as the Crane.
Insane as the Crane. Insane as the Crane. Insane as the Crane. Kinda insane like the Crane. Insane as the Crane.
We're taking a slightly different approach to Insane as the Crane this month. And I think we'll be upfront with our listeners. We really racked our brains, didn't we, for all of a minute and a half yesterday, and we could not come up with anything insane. There were some topics that were deemed big news events of the last month, which we, to be sensitive to the people involved, felt were not worth mentioning. We did have the announcement that our, I think, truly wonderful Mayor Mike Savage will not be running again, but we felt we didn't want to insert politics into this. So what do we come up with instead?
Bit of a different approach. Normally we have an Insane as the Crane, which is, like James just alluded to, something that's happened, a particular event or something we're all dealing with. But instead, this was actually inspired. We were out last night we had a reception for this event last night. We went out afterwards and we were talking, and the idea came from James's wife, Jen, who brought it up.
One of my wives.
What? One of them?
My one wife.
One of them.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, one of them.
Canadian wife.
Canadian wife. She brought it up because I brought up potholes, and I thought, that's insane to me. I think that's insane. So what we're going to talk about today is what's insane to me and James, or James and I. What's insane? Not one particular thing, but what drives us crazy? What in Halifax or Nova Scotia makes us feel insane or makes us go insane? So James, spitball here. Anything you can think of that makes you go crazy.
A really crappy podcast that this Welshman and this Canadian guy do.
Oh, that's all. I don't even want to talk about that.
No, I mean,
Terrible.
I have to default, and I actually was getting ready for the conference this morning, and breakfast started at like 6:50, so I was in the hotel room at, this is whatever it was, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I said to Jen, I think my insanity is just too normal. But she said, no, you're passionate about it. It's driving. It's driving in this province.
And driving in general.
Driving in
I
general.
can see that. Yep.
How many times have we hashed driving on this podcast?
Quite a
and I
bit.
still have new material I can rant about.
In different ways. We've talked about other drivers. We've talked about conditions we've had to drive in. One of my insanities is potholes. Lately, I find it's been dry. But I was actually one of the very first. That was sorry. One second.
That was a train going by where
Yeah.
actually they, due to some existing easements, the Nova Scotia government built a freight train line through the Nova Centre. So it's like 38 minutes or so. It's like twice every 2 hours this train comes by. It's very dangerous.
So be prepared. So for me, like,
Be prepared. Remember Lion King back? Oh, you weren't alive in '98.
The Lion King? You kidding
Now,
me?
Reese on the other end of the camera there, you remember the Lion King, don't you?
I don't remember the Lion King. Of course I remember the Lion King. Mufasa.
Be prepared. Yeah.
I watched the Lion King and the Lion King.
Jeremy
1 and 2,
Jeremy
Lion
Irons.
King, 2.5 or 1.5, and then the make where
What
they
year were
use
you
the real
born? What year
animals.
were you born? Again, remind me.
Pardon?
What year were you born?
97.
97. So you don't remember the Lion King the first time around.
Well, I mean, like they still played it for me. Like
who
my family did.
remembers Lion King? We got you born in 94. Okay, I'm an 87 kid.
What?
Reese behind the camera there is 84 kid. Okay, so he wins. He's receiving CPP before all of us.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Back on topic.
Anyways, you talked about driving. I talked about potholes. I find lately they've been driving me more crazy than ever. It was one of the first topics I think on our podcast way back when, in a different life, where we talked about potholes. And I find lately I'm swerving around the road. I mean, you look like you're losing control of the wheel, but really you're actually driving perfectly. You're avoiding all the potholes.
I'm always there's a drunk driver in front of me. Oh no, there's a pothole.
Just avoiding the pot. If you're not avoiding the potholes, if you're just driving straight over them, then there might be a problem.
Yeah.
But it's the way it is.
I'll tell you my main issue with, apart from everything to do with driving here, is anyone who grew up in Europe, put your hands in the air. And there's two of us in the immediate area who grew up in Europe. We drive these things. They're called sticks. Yeah, so my issue is this: with all, I boil every issue and every rant I have about driving down to the fact that North American vehicles are just too easy to drive, because when all you have is a gas pedal and a brake, you can be distracted. Now, when I go back to the UK and I rent a Standard, I can barely talk to my wife as I'm driving, because I've got another. Have you ever driven a stick before?
No,
Okay,
I know, but I know
you've got another pedal to deal with on the far left.
Yeah.
It's called the clutch.
No, I know this.
You got the stick to deal with.
Yep.
So your right hand is always consumed with activity. Your left foot is always busy. So you have no time to be a shitty driver. And I'll tell you now, I was in the UK. Last time I was in the UK, I drove 1,800 miles in a loop. Not for fun. I didn't wake up and go, Jen, we should drive in a big circle today. We were stopping off at various places on the way. I honked my horn 0 times. And for
Really?
we got a Welshman behind the camera here. I drove the entirety of the M25, and I did not use my horn once. I cannot go to the gas station here without on everyone.
I'm not a honker. I don't really honk.
You're a squeezer?
I'm a squeeze. I like squeeze. I squeeze the wheel because I just get angry, right? Get so annoyed. So I just
10 and
kind of
2.
one of those
10
ones.
and 2, my friend.
One of those ones. 10.
Are you a 10 and 2 driver?
I'm definitely a 10 and. Well, no. I'm one hand. I'm on a 2. Right, like that. And the
You're
other
a
hand,
2?
the other hand's like up like that.
Okay,
like
so I'm a 2.
fingered
I'm
in.
a single right-hand 2 driver with my elbow on the central console.
Oh yeah,
That's the driver.
I
Oh no,
pulled
actually, I'm a 4 o'clock. I'm a 4. I'm a 4 o'clock driver.
You tried to slip.
I didn't know I was even doing that.
You tried to slip that one in.
I did. Yeah. No, I'm a 4 o'clock driver with my elbow on the central console.
We're getting kicked out of this place. Like, what did we let these guys in here for? What are they talking about over there?
But I just want to put on the record on the podcast, we've tried to be polite about it before, but I think I'm just going to come out and say, Nova Scotia, you're a crappy driver. If Nova Scotia was a driver, it would be that person in like the Annapolis Valley doing 20 in a 60 zone. No ticker, I don't know which direction they're going in, stopping and starting randomly. You can see that they're on their phone. Sunday drivers.
I got another one I'm going to throw in here, and I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, and I'm not throwing any workers under the bus.
Please don't, because it's very dangerous.
I'm not trying to.
Buses are very heavy.
Wow, you took that literally.
Yeah.
Garbage removal. Garbage, like your garbage that goes to the curb, right? Chicken looks like a chicken. Garbage that goes to the curb. Lately, I've been having a situation where I put my garbage bin at the curb, go to work for the day. By the time I come back, it's taken care of, but they leave the garbage bin in front of my driveway, like in the way of me pulling in.
Oh.
Like, come on. It's just, it's kind of lazy. I'm not trying to out anybody or roast anybody, but like, line it up where it was. I gotta get out of my car, look like a fool, move the garbage, probably fall over or something like that.
As an honest taxpayer, I demand more for my money.
I guess I'm
and that's
being
why
really,
you should vote for Alec Cranston.
I'm being really, my
liberal candidate for God.
My brother told me last night, because he drove me home after the reception thing, and
Alec was very sober. He was so sober he had to get his brother to drive him home. But I will tell you, talking about shitty drivers, I commend you for having somebody else at the wheel that was not your intoxicated self.
Absolutely, and I would never ever do that. And my brother happened to be going that way anyway, so it worked okay. But last night in the car, he was like, "You ever consider politics?" And I was like, "Not really." He's like, "You're just
for him or for you?"
For me. He just goes,
okay.
"You're very political." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, I was like, I'm not into policy. I don't really talk about that kind of stuff. He's like, no, just like the way you carry yourself. You're just a very political guy. Like, you just like the way you're talking to people. Like, you don't take one side. You're just, you move about life very politically. And I'm like, what an interesting assessment of me. I don't believe that. And anyways, that's off the topic. But anyway, just.
Well, you work in real estate, so you're kind of well primed for a political career.
Yeah, I guess you got to be political.
No, because you're good at bullshitting essentially. So
you hear that? That's on tape.
We all, it's just a real estate industry.
Oh yeah, 100%. Anything else that drives you nuts? Anything else insane? I definitely have. I could go on forever, but I like Costco in general.
Yeah, there's one other thing that drives me insane about this area. It's when something new comes into the area and this mass hysteria kicks off. I know we've covered this before.
No, but it's true.
But like when Popeyes opened and people were waiting 7 hours and clogging West Bedford for fried chicken.
Yeah.
Denny's opened up down at Dartmouth Crossing
or
not, actually I can't say Dartmouth Crossing because that is a formally registered legal entity. It is the Dartmouth Crossing area, we are supposed to say, or Dartmouth Crossing will sue you. No, I'm kidding, they won't. But Dartmouth Crossing is not an area. It's
where to walk behind us in that moment.
Dartmouth Crossing only exists on North American Development Group's land. So you can't talk about the Dartmouth Crossing area being where Denny's is, because it isn't, but in that area. Denny's opened up, and apparently it was during March break, there was just like huge lineups wrapping around the hotel. Why, when something opens up here,
it's basically just
do people feel the need to go insane over it?
I saw a Reddit thread of all things about Denny's saying like, is it good? Should we go? And one of the comment was like, Denny's isn't a place you choose consciously to go eat and be like, let's go eat at Denny's today. That's what I want to eat. It's where you just happen to end up. It's the last place in the line. There's nothing else that'll take you in, or you're really hungover and you're staying in the Sandman Hotel. One of those things.
Yes, I agree.
You like Denny's? You seem like a guy that would.
So I used to live in Florida, and if I look at the times I rolled up into Denny's, it was always...
Can you believe he was the Mickey Mouse mascot at Disney World?
I was Goofy. Still am.
You are.
I wasn't Goofy, by the way. Every time I've been in Denny's, there's been a problem with life. There has been. Every time I've wound up in Denny's, it's because there's been like an issue, and Denny's was the place to solve it.
Okay.
Been there at like 2 a.m. a couple of times.
It's like your own therapist. Denny's is your therapist.
Yeah, Denny's isn't somewhere where you're kind of happy and you wait. No American in history has ever woken up and gone, life is wonderful. I feel great. I need a grand slam with 12 pancakes, 8 sausages, 15 eggs. But you can imagine it being like 1 a.m. like, we got to solve this fight properly. We need to get out of the house. Let's just have midnight breakfast at Denny's. Like that's what Denny's is.
Are they open all night? We're really getting on a tangent with Denny's right here. I'm sorry, but
I would say drive along early in the hours and figure it out.
Yeah.
So we'll end the insanity there, because I think we started off really structured as sort of, let's not do the typical insane as the crane. Let's talk about what annoys us, and it just slid into just us being bitter about life.
And Denny's.
and Denny's in particular. We are at the Atlantic Real Estate Forum. We are surrounded by some of the best brains in the industry, from construction to investments to policy. So part of what we're doing, but we're going to pull some people in and have a chat with a couple of folks. And we have no real agenda with anyone, do we? We just want to see who wanders by our table here and who wants to stop and have a little chin wag.
Oh, well, if I look over there, I see Doug Doucet of Doucet Developments. I think he'd be a tremendous guest if we can go grab him. What do you think?
Go grab Doug.
I'll go get him.
We are thrilled to be joined by Doug Doucet, CEO of Doucet Developments. Thank you.
No problem. Happy to help.
Yeah, well, we appreciate, you're a charismatic guy. You permeated every inch of this city. Why Halifax?
Halifax is just a cool city, man. When I look at the project that they're doing out there now, they're tearing down the old highway system. Going to build 12 towers. Imagine in the 70s, they were going to put a double-eight highway down our waterfront. And today we have the nicest waterfront in North America. So I get excited. I mean, I think it's a cool city. It's a fun place to hang.
And you are from Halifax? So
I was Cape Breton, actually, originally.
Well, what are you doing in Cape Breton, you say?
Cape Breton, we're doing we got a 6-acre site on the waterfront. So we're doing 3 towers and hopefully a train center and maybe some cultural space. And we've got a combination of things happening there. Cool.
Well, I've got to tell you, I'm not just saying this because you're here. I bet you people I know will vouch for this. I'm a Welshman, so I figure out lots of really authentic pubs. If you want that experience, then the Deerfield is the way to go.
But it's about as good as it is to be a golf course owner, because both of them draw a lot of attention away from what you should be doing. But they're fun. It's fun to have a pub, and it's fun to be able to go down and hang with the neighborhood. So it's a real community pub. And as you know, if you've been there, it's a real cool, authentic Scottish pub with a cool sports bars.
What did you do to get it to where it is? I mean, you probably visited a lot of pubs in Scotland, or what was the research you did?
You know what? I was so excited. My background is obviously retail, commercial, and I think it could have been a retailer. Like, I love retail. We now have our own brokerage. We're into doing our own leases. So I love the whole space, and you're obviously in the space, so it's a real cool space. So when I got the pub and the golf course, it's like I couldn't sleep at night. I was getting up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and all I did was Google Scotland. Well, first of all, I wanted to own an Irish pub, so I started, and someone said to me, Doug, it's Glen Arbor. It's not Irish. So, and Scottish pubs just don't have the same.
No, yeah, that's true. There's a lot more fun in an Irish pub. But so the way, we being a Celtic Brit, I've always said kind of coolness is Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Now, I'm a Welshman. I'm on the bottom, but that's just the way it is.
Wales is cool. I've been to Wales for one of the big golf tournaments, the Ryder Cup.
Went to the Celtic Manor, yes. That's where I'm from. Newport.
Oh, wow, cool. Well, you think Cape Bretons are friendly? People in Wales are like weird and friendly. Like, he's
not so friendly. Not friendly like that. No, but you did a great job. So you got up in the night.
I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I got the hot tub. I couldn't sleep, and I started buying stuff. Everything in that pub was bought from Scotland, and I didn't have time to get a designer. I'm pretty good with the eye, so I just was doing things on the fly. We were putting down vinyl flooring. I said, no, you can't have vinyl flooring in an authentic Scottish pub. So we found some pirate boards down in the farm in the valley. If we did all screw these pirate boards down, and the dirtier and uglier they get, the better they get. So it's like,
that's the thing, is you don't need to ever renovate either. Like, I hang around at pubs back home that were built in the 1600s. Appreciate it, Doug. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
So Corey Bell from Lindsay Construction has just appeared in our eye line. I think we should grab him and force him to talk to us. What do you think?
I think we should do it. I know he would love to chat with us. Let's go grab him right now.
Well, we're thrilled to be joined by Corey Bell, President and CEO of Lindsay Construction. Thank you for giving up time in your very busy schedule. Corey said, I have to get to lunch. I have a couple of minutes. So we're taking those few minutes.
Absolutely.
So we're here today, and we've got all these 600 people involved in the real estate industry around us. But we want to kind of cut to the core of where we are. What do you love about this city? Why do you do what you do, and why do you do it here?
This city, it's a great city. It's a small, big city, right? We have everything, and we have all the potential to be more, right? You see amazing growth, multicultural. You're seeing development like you've never seen before. We have, a great downtown area, and we have great urban sprawl. So you kind of have everything. You can live outside of the city, enjoy the downtown area, or live right in the city and enjoy the downtown area and go to the beaches, go to Peggy's Cove. You have Halifax has everything.
Well, where are we going?
where are we going?
Where
as
are
a
we
city?
going as a city? Yeah.
Well, we're going up. We're seeing more density in our multi-res, so we're seeing more people moving into the downtown core, which we need to see. We need a vibrant downtown core. You're going to see more arts. You're going to see more happening with the art gallery, hopefully in the future, and some of the other areas. You're seeing Bedford expanding. You're seeing the new library and the ferry terminal bringing people in and out of the downtown core a little bit quicker. So growth is going to continue. You see in Halifax, we've added the equivalent to Truro over the last 2 years as far as population. So that's big.
That's a good metric. Added equivalent of
as
Truro.
you think about it, we added Truro to Halifax.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So in looking towards the future, with many different roles and avenues you've taken in life, where do you see your involvement in the future of the city?
Well, wherever I can help out. Like right now, I chair the Halifax Partnership. I think it's a major component to the economic growth in the city, and I'm privileged to be able to be part of that. I don't see myself in any type of political spot.
So there's not the mayoral run.
There'll be
Andy Fillmore
none of that.
cannot get too nervous. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
But wherever I can show up, I love this city. I believe we all have responsibility to put our time into it to help its growth, bring our thought leadership to the table, and to advocate for better growth and a vibrant city.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we know you have to run to lunch. One quick question: we were at the celebrity roast last year. So a year later, how do you reflect on that evening? We had a wonderful time.
Yeah, you know what? I had a wonderful time.
Do you like being the center of attention, or do you struggle?
No, I'm okay with attention, but it was a lot of fun. Great cause. We brought a lot of people out. It was a Tuesday night. A lot of fun at my expense. I told everyone there was nothing off limits, and they certainly took my advice well. And they had a lot of fun with it, and so did I. It was great. Always good to have the last word, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you. Welcome to the Matter of Facts, and thanks for taking the time. And enjoy
pleasure.
the rest of the real estate forum.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Awesome.
All right. Take care.
We tried very hard to get Heather Ferguson to come onto the podcast, and she agreed. We're so grateful that you would give us some of your time. Heather is the executive director of BOMA for Prince Edward Island and New Brunswick. Did I say that correctly?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask the question a lot of our listeners are asking, because this isn't actually a real estate podcast. We typically, our predominant listener would be sort of business community of Halifax. What is BOMA?
Yeah, thanks, James, for having me today. It's exciting. So BOMA is the acronym for Building Owners and Managers Association. We are one of the 11 for BOMA New Brunswick PEI. We're one of the 11 locals that make up BOMA Canada, and it's a great. The association is made up of members of anybody in the commercial real estate, anywhere from landlords, developers, property managers, brokers. Then there's our suppliers, anybody that services our buildings. The association is kind of brings in everybody around the table to help support and advocate for anything on the commercial real estate side.
Most people know the golf tournaments. That's one thing they do know. You guys apparently put on the best golf tournaments in Atlantic Canada.
We do. We have a great time. I know right across all three of our associations here in the Atlantic, the golf tournaments sell out first thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll take it. We'll take it. And what is the benefit of the association to its members? What the existence of BOMA is for a reason. What are you achieving? What is the mission critical action points?
Yeah, there's so many different aspects to the membership piece. Like, surveys go out. The biggest thing that come back is networking. And one of the things that I've learned over the last 6 years in this is the support of each other. The industry, this type of industry, every year, right? We don't know what's going to happen. We had a whole pandemic that completely changed our world. And then we're coming out of the pandemic in a whole other world that we're all still trying to navigate, and all the different surprises and what are we going to do and that kind of thing. So one of the things is the relationship building on the networking side, the support piece in that. But there is a lot of opportunity to advocate on the, with the municipalities, the provincial government around property taxes and rental rates and all that kind of thing. So we kind of have an opportunity to bring the landlords and that around the table, the developers, and see what some of the issues that we can advocate for them on that end.
Yeah.
So
you are busy.
We are busy and we're growing like crazy. One of the good things I've loved in this position and getting to be in this industry, I think from a national standpoint is one thing I've respected is that we've been welcomed around the table on a national level. One thing we do represent here in the Atlantic is a lot of local developers, and there is the support for local business, local developers here, and around a national table, I think it brings a different perspective.
Well, listen, thank you for coming on and
thanks
chatting
for
with us.
having me.
We really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it's
Taking
been
a few
great.
minutes of your day, and this has been great.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome,
All
thank
right.
you. All right. So as we duck and weave through many different guests that we've had on to chat and more that will come, we'd like to sneak in the Reddit Roundup.
Haligonians losing their minds over minor inconveniences.
So what I have today is from Reddit Halifax, from a account called Hick from French Lick. That was loud. Hopefully somebody will come over. So we'll show it in the show notes, and maybe we'll make a reel to this. But if the camera can see, it was a parking job that was done at Costco in the shopping cart. What do you call it? Like the barn, a shopping cart?
Cart corral thing.
Cart corral? That's what it's called? Cart
That's
corral.
what we call it.
Okay.
The car house.
The home of the carts, a car parked in there. It looks like I can't tell what kind of, I can't read. It's a car parked in there.
What type of car it is? I think it had a bunch of wheels.
It's like an SUV. Hey, listen, in the defense of this parker, although there is a canopy there, their parking spots are still in there. Like the lines are still drawn. Anyway, some of the funny comments were, what membership level includes free covered parking? Someone said VIP, very idiotic person.
I got my opinion on it. Read some comments.
I'm going to read a few.
Give you my
Then some very inconsiderate person, but I wouldn't say inconsiderate because someone could be confused. Someone said double executive, gilded platinum, monarchy status, platinum. Oh my goodness. Then there's
Takes a whole lot of dill pickle salads to reach that.
And someone
that
said
level of membership.
Oh, the dill pickle salads.
dill pickle salads.
Jenna gets those all the time.
Yeah.
From Meat Cove says anyone that does this should automatically have their license taken away from them. And then Bleed Air said, and their Costco card. And then Muscadaubit said, can I surrender my passport instead of my Costco card? Anyone who does this should be put in a stockade and pelted with Costco hot dogs. And then Quirky Mobile said, don't threaten me with a good time.
Well, it's basically going through Costco anyway with all the samples that they give you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my opinion here is if you're going to take what was clearly once a parking space and you're going to dump one of those cart corrals on it, expect people to park in there. Because it's not as if you're not going to paint lines inside one of those. That was clearly a parking space, which
and then
had
they
that
put the thing
dumped on
over it.
So, it's like, don't ask questions you don't want to hear the answer to. Don't go shoving something on a parking spot if you don't want people to park in it.
That's a good point. I mean, who's in the wrong, really? What was grandfathered in? Was the parking spot already
Here's
there?
another talking point. That's not a legal parking infringement. So you can't park in a blue badge space. That's legal, and I agree. Anyone parking in a blue badge space should have the car crushed. Unless they have a blue badge. Please don't crush somebody who should be in a blue badge space. But you know those ones that say for like expectant mothers?
Yes.
Or for shoppers, for shoppers
one.
with mobility issues?
Yes.
That's not legal. That's advisory.
So you
it's
could go
poor
park there.
taste. If I was to park in the expectant mother spot at Walmart.
Is this your way of saying
on
you do park there and you're trying to get everyone's...
which I've never done when there's no other spaces but at the back of the parking lot. It's very wrong, but it's not illegal.
Wow.
So what that car's doing with Costco, nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's no parking sign. No parking sign.
What's your opinion? What's your personal opinion? Would Alec Cranston park his smart car in the cart corral?
If I was desperate, I get annoyed going to Costco in general. Like I'm always kind of PO'd on my way there. So if I was really upset and there was no parking and I was in a rush and it was pouring rain, maybe I would. They're just impressed they actually parked inside the lines. And it's funny because Melissa, one of the brains behind this whole organization here.
The brains,
sent me a photo of a parking job in Costco that we will also show on the reel /
Is this
show
like
notes.
this is a Melissa Gilbert original?
Yeah, look at that. Look at that parking job.
That's not even parking.
That's not parking.
That's abandoning the vehicle.
Yeah, they were like halfway to pulling in and they abandoned it and said, this is where I'm going to park. I would prefer you go park under the canopy and then do that.
Oh, I think I'm all in support of parking under the canopies.
Oh, me too. I mean, I'm over that. But in general, I mean, there's probably other options.
Do you know about the guy
I got
who used
one.
to cable tie the parking the shopping carts to your car door. Do you know about this?
No.
So there was a guy who owned an independent grocery store in Halifax, apparently up until the 90s. And if you double parked because your car was so expensive that you didn't want other cars parking near you, he would take cable ties and he would apparently cable tie a shopping cart to your door handle.
Really?
So you had no other option but to go in and try to get someone to cut them off, but then nobody would be available for the next hour. And it was part of his little FU to people.
Jesus. Wow. Well, I have a solution for that whole parking situation at Costco. Just don't go to Costco and don't put yourself through that stress that you're gonna have when you go in there anyway, and the lines and the wait. I mean, I go now. I mean, we go and Jenna loves it. She loves going, picks out all the food, the chicken that looks like a chicken. We got that last time.
Oh yeah, I got to tell you this. So we were out at our company's social hour. Was it social hour? This was at
social hour.
And Alec asked a very probing question. He said, "What's that chicken called you buy that looks like a chicken?"
The word rotisserie fled my mind. I couldn't think about that.
We all just
word.
looked and we went, "It's called a chicken."
Someone did say rotisserie though eventually to get me in my brain. Yeah,
Rotisserie?
because all I thought was it's just chicken breast, chicken leg, whatever.
Yeah.
But I couldn't figure out what you call a chicken that still looks like it's a chicken. Anyway, we bought that chicken. I go to Costco, go for the free samples sometimes. The last time I got myself in a situation where there was this dude, interesting fella, just standing by one of the little things, just kept taking the food and being like, "Ooh, you want to try this?" I'm like, "Do you work here?" He's like, "Nope, I just really enjoy this canned chicken." And it was like canned, almost like cat food chicken. I tried it because I felt peer pressure by this man.
Fancy Feast.
Yeah, it tastes like Fancy Feast. I felt peer pressure by this man I never met. Really
So you got pressured into eating cat food in public.
Yes.
Continue.
Exactly. Thankfully, it wasn't that busy that day, but there's been times where, and I hate driving around in Costco with the big cart that's as wide as this table, and there's these unwritten rules and stuff like that. And
Hang on, back up. What are the unwritten rules of Costco?
You gotta keep
for me,
moving.
it's just scream and get stressed.
You got to
and
keep
go
moving,
crazy.
especially going through the produce section. That's a loop there. You can't just go in and stop. You have to follow and go with the
Yeah,
with
this
the
is
grain.
Costco's version of leave a free urinal between you and the next guy, right? It's
Exactly.
not enshrined in any
Not
law,
trying to
but
checkmate a couple
it's the only
fellas.
way to do things.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So I'm saying, just don't go to Costco. The best Costco trip I ever had, we walked in, line was all the way back to the meat, where all the meat. I don't know why I had a hard time saying that. And we came in with the cart, and Jenna just goes, nope, and lets the cart go. And I've never known her to do that, and I was so fired up. We went to Jack Astor's to celebrate. Anyways,
You went to Denny's to celebrate.
Oh!
Let's go to Denny's, darling.
So just avoid Costco altogether.
Somebody just almost walked into our podcast table then.
That would have been really, really cool. So that's my Reddit roundup topic. I can't say I have a true judgment on the situation because I don't know the circumstances. Maybe there was a rush. Maybe they had to run in and grab something. Maybe they got confused. Maybe the canopy went down after the parking job was done. I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. James,
what I'll
what's
say
your
is
topic?
I fully support it. My Reddit roundup topic is one that was posted only actually a day ago. This was posted by Beatbox5, and I can actually say their username because this person we featured on a previous podcast.
Really?
And I didn't understand. You see the way the name looks?
Oh yeah.
I said he is called B34TBOXX5, and Alec was like, "Yeah, that's Beatbox5."
I didn't even see it either. That's me, man. I'm just there.
Well,
I'm lasered in.
Beatbox5 posted a photo of the Wave, our famous sculpture in Halifax, in the background, and in the front it was the
I
sign.
painted the wave way back when.
You did paint the Wave. The same day I painted the McDonald Bridge,
Yeah.
right? I remember that
Yeah.
for Canada Day, I think.
This is very nostalgic.
It is, and we'll put this in the show notes, but it's a photograph of the "For Your Protection, Do Not Climb." Would you like that one more time in that voice? For your protection, do not climb.
For your protection, do not climb.
For your protection, do not climb. For your protection, do not climb. Me, I'm too old.
Meanwhile, there's 20 people on the wave. Anyway,
Well, this is it. So, we all know that. So anyway, the post is titled, "If you ever feel useless, just know that somebody designed, carved, and installed do not climb signs on the Halifax Wave." You've been up the Wave as I was 20 something when I moved to Canada. So to be honest, if I arrived in the city and ran up the Wave, it would have been a little bit weird. But you've been up the Wave?
I mean, maybe as a little kid, but not in recent memory. No, I just think I would tear my knee or something or whatever.
Okay.
But as a kid, I definitely climbed up the wave, and there's people on it all the time.
You go on it now?
Would I go on it now? No.
We're going to do a podcast from the wave one day?
We could do a podcast under the wave. It's shaded. It kind of comes down like
batting
that.
little kids off those. So I'm get off our
get
podcast.
off. No
Get off
climbing.
the podcast.
Read the sign.
Come back when you can understand this language
Yeah.
that we speak.
Good sakes.
Well, Reddit, went crazy as normal. Actually, some of the top comments weren't even really that funny, but there was some. Somebody said that it's useful for HRM's lawyers when somebody falls and gets hurt, and somebody underneath said, quote, "Wave bye-bye to your settlement, kids. Oh, that's right. You can't. Wahahaha. HRM's lawyers."
That was the name of the account, HRM's lawyers?
No, they were pretending to be HRM's lawyers. And I'll tell you something that really threw me as well. This one comment, this is from Z543210. A family member that worked in the ER said they had seen a steady number of kids who lost their teeth on that thing over the years. Probably just once in a while, but it was a recurring thing. Like the IKEA ballrooms that used to exist and took a lot of kids' teeth out. They're bad designs for playing. Now, I think they meant ball pit, but they put ballrooms. And when I first read this, I was like, IKEA ballrooms.
A big ballroom.
I imagined that there was some part of an IKEA store I was missing where I'd fling open the door and there would be a massive ornate ballroom with a shiny floor and a stage at the end with majestic red 40-foot curtains hanging down. And then I just realized it was a pool of plastic balls.
Playing the balls.
Yeah. Apparently it was called the Fun Zone. Somebody claims that they lost some teeth in it back in the
Bring
day.
the Fun Zone back.
Yeah. And then somebody, of course, had to spoil everyone's fun. They came on and said, this is Zinek Karen. That's just there for liability issues. People have been climbing that wave for at least 25 years. Back in my day, we didn't have no signs. They've got poor grammar, by the way.
Yeah.
Back in my day, we didn't have no signs or soft ground. They're British as well. Just concrete around the wave. Good times.
Have you ever climbed it?
No.
No?
I was like in my 20s when I moved. Jen, there's a few things I need to do when I move to Halifax. I need to get up the next day. I need to get my social insurance number. Then we need to make sure that the moving trucks arrived. Oh, and then we're going to cab into the city to climb that wave thing. No, I had other priorities.
I did a scavenger hunt.
Then life got ahead of me.
I did a scavenger hunt with the kids that I coach in hockey, and one of the things they had to do for the scavenger hunt was climb the wave. And they all did it.
And keep on going.
And then just keep on going.
And somebody, of course, this is Slethia user, said, ironic, this is going back to the wave sign. They said, ironically, the sign itself is a tripping hazard if you're not looking. Because you've seen it, right? And we'll put it in the show notes. But I mean, it's basically a brick just ripe for the tripping.
I mean, like, that's dangerous because what happens is kids go up, right? I don't really know. I don't watch, but they go to the top and they run down the wave and go sprinting to wherever they're going, probably to that little playground over there. I'm sounding creepy, but they sprint down. That's a tripping hazard.
What do you think's happened on top of the wave over the years? I reckon there is a kid somewhere in Halifax whose parents go, their 18th birthday. They say, "Do you want to know the story? You're not going to believe this. Your mother and I, if we backtrack, we think you were conceived on the wave."
Your mother and I met on the wave. Both climbed up at the same time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't love to know, but it'd be interesting to know what's the most diabolical thing that's ever happened on the wave. And it doesn't have to be in that arena of what you're thinking and where your brain's going.
I was talking about sensible Bible study, my friend.
Oh, I just meant kids doing their homework.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant too.
Stay in school, kids.
Yeah. Well, the wave's due for a new painting. I'll be by soon.
Okay, well, that was Reddit Roundup.
That's the Reddit Roundup.
We've had some struggles this month with both Insanity in Halifax and Reddit Roundup, so we've made this call before, but if the residents of Halifax over the next 4 weeks could all just do some really stupid stuff, it would really help the podcast.
The dumber the better.
We're asking our politicians to engage in scandal. We're asking for, some sort of loud nudity. What are you thinking?
Takes.
Pizzas flying out of windows somewhere.
We need donaires to be raining from the sky.
You know what would be hilarious?
Donaire sauce just to be everywhere.
But this is really far-flung. Wouldn't it be hilarious if one of the councillors did something stupid, said, we're not going to serve pizzas after 11 p.m.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be insane?
That would be insane.
Something really stupid like that.
Really dumb.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Okay, do you want to hear from another guest?
I'd love to hear from another guest.
Well, we are thrilled. We have got officially the nicest guy in Halifax, the only person to give me a great big beaming Atlantic Canada smile every time I run into him on Spring Garden Road, Kenzie McDonald, here on the Matter of Facts podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, we are absolutely thrilled. Alex got tons of questions.
Super thrilled.
We're going to be
Tons of growing
hours. We're going to be
questions.
hours and hours.
Make them easy. I'm not that bright.
So you're from Halifax, right? You live in Halifax now?
I've been in Halifax for a long time, but actually grew up in Cape Breton.
Oh, right on.
In northern Cape Breton, but moved to Halifax to go to St. Mary's University.
Yeah.
Decades ago and stayed.
Yeah. So what would you say? Living in Halifax, what's favorite thing about the city? You enjoy the most about being here?
Definitely the people.
Yeah.
You've been here a lot. I'm fortunate enough that work in an industry, same industry as you guys. You meet a lot of people. You make a lot of lifelong friends.
Yeah.
It's easy to go out and run into them. There's always places to go and people to have fun with.
Absolutely.
and tell stories.
And lots is going on, and we're going in really good directions. Like in your own perspective, where do you kind of see, the future of Halifax and where we're going as a city, both from a development perspective and the people?
One of the greatest things that I think has happened in Halifax over kind of the last 10 years is the increase of people living downtown.
Yeah.
I think that's made a huge difference just to the vibrancy of the city. You walk the waterfront on a Saturday morning, there are people around. You walk through the downtown, Sunday afternoon, there are people around. 10 years ago, downtown became a ghost town, at 5 o'clock on Friday. So it's really changed the atmosphere and just the feel of the downtown all week long. It's a great place to live.
Absolutely. And so here we're at the Atlantic Real Estate Forum, which we've mentioned a few times. What do you find is the most valuable thing coming to these events, to continue to come to these events, and what do you feel like you get the most out of here?
Yeah, I think you definitely learn a few things. There's always the tidbits of information. You get to hear, the great wisdom of Bill McAvoy, as you sit there.
Bill blows our socks off every day with that wisdom. He's just a bottomless pit of
He's shy on his opinions on how things should be, but it's good to come here.
Bill doesn't like to talk. I've learned that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to come here and have people drag it out of him, so you can hear that, which is nice.
He's not a sharp dresser either, in the slightest.
So there's always you can always learn a few things, tidbits of what's happening. Trends. You meet new people. Like, it's quite interesting. If you have the list of attendees. There are a number of people here from companies that aren't involved here yet. I'm guessing they're.
That's a good point.
I'm guessing they're coming to town to kind of scope it out. Well, what's this all about? We've been hearing about Halifax. We've had a number of buyers, buying in the last 4 or 5 years. That are first-time buyers, and I think you're going to see more and more of that, which is great. So, which is really interesting. I don't know if you have the list, but take a look at it.
It's an interesting list.
There are companies on there that aren't doing business here yet, and it's interesting that they're here showing up. So,
well, the interesting thing is that you're like us. You probably got the attendee list 2 weeks ago. Everyone says, "I don't know that person. I'm not going to talk to them." No. You don't know them. That's the guy you talk to. Yeah. That's the lady you talk to. They're here for a reason. They're probably someone. If you're not talking to them now, you will be frequently in 5 years, and you want to be whatever capacity you're in. You want to be their person, whatever line of work you're in. And let's quickly chat about what you do professionally. Tell us what you do. We all know you in many different capacities, but officially, who is Kenzie?
Yeah, so I work with Colliers International on the real estate management services side. So we manage assets on behalf of owners across the country. And so I head up kind of Atlantic Canada on the business development and kind of growth side, and then I oversee a portfolio of properties from Whitehorse to St. John's, Newfoundland, on behalf of a client, and then another client we do a bunch of stuff for here in Atlantic Canada as well. So that's kind of what I do, though.
Great. Well, we're pleased you could join us here.
Well, thanks for having me.
And we appreciate we have just been plucking people out of conversations, coming up escalators out of elevators. We're like, hey,
in front of people.
You are going to come here and talk to us, so we appreciate you.
Thank you.
A little cooler beer, you get more people popping in. Just
wait till the 11 p.m. podcast. It's a little different.
11 p.m. podcast. Well, thanks for having me, guys. Good luck.
Yeah,
thanks, Kenzie.
Thanks for coming on.
See ya.
Well, I think it's about time we bring someone from Cushman and Wakefield's own office, Jenna Miller. She's one of our newest members. I think she'd be thrilled to come on and chat with us. What do you think?
This is going to be great. Let's talk to someone who will just dish the truth about us. So look who we have here, Jenna Miller. We just said you're going to be on the podcast whether you like it or not, and Jenna said, okay, if I've got to, I will, and we're very grateful that you agreed to. And just to give some context here, Jenna Miller is an integral part of Team Collins, the world's most aggressive and successful real estate practice, if only. And Jenna's really interesting because all the people in the room today are from here, but you have come from
Sudbury, Ontario.
Sudbury, Ontario.
Yeah.
What brought you, well, actually, I know your story. So what brought you to Atlantic Canada, and then what brought you to Halifax? That's the two questions.
Okay, yeah. So I'm from Sudbury, Ontario, and then I moved to New Brunswick, where I went to Mount Allison University, played hockey there, studied business for 4 years, and then after that, following graduation, I moved here, where I go to Dal now, doing my residency right now with James and his team. And moved to Halifax, went to Dal, ended up here after that.
And ended up on a podcast.
Ended up on a podcast. I knew this day was going to come someday.
Well, we've been saying for the last couple of months, Jenna's been with us now for three and a bit months. You will be on the podcast one day. So we thank you for joining us. So as an outsider, you haven't come from Toronto, you haven't come from a huge city, you come from Sudbury, which is a charming place. It's a little smaller than a lot of other Canadian towns and cities. Yeah. What do you think of Atlantic Canada? And you can be honest here, because no one listens to this podcast anyway. So you can tell us exactly what you think. Let her rip.
I like it a lot here. And I mean, coming from Sudbury, it was definitely smaller than Halifax. But then when I moved to Sackville, that was obviously a really big change because it's so small there. So then coming straight from there to here was definitely a lot bigger of a change because this is obviously the biggest place I've ever lived now. So, I mean, I really like it here. I really like Halifax a lot. There's a lot to do here. I think moving here in the summer too is probably something that was a good thing because obviously Halifax is kind of where it's at in the summer. Like there's a lot going on in the waterfront and everything. So I've really liked it so far. The people are great. Can't complain. So
what can we do better? And you can be honest here because we Alec and I we ask a lot of our guests this.
Usually every guest we ask how we can do better as a city.
As a city?
Yeah. Something we can improve on.
I mean, I think the major thing would probably just be the roads to and from downtown.
You missed out. Did you hear our rant earlier about the driving? If not, you'll hear it when this airs.
Definitely.
So the driving's for you too. Okay.
Yeah, like I only live probably 3 kilometers away from downtown, but for some reason this morning it took me 20 minutes to get here. So
welcome to being stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
What's it like working for that guy over there?
It's
I'm going to leave. I'm out of here. Nice to know you.
Off the record.
No, it's been really good. And
awesome.
Honestly, yeah, James is a great mentor. Jen's a great mentor as well. And I really appreciate everything they've done. And just kind of right from the beginning, it's never been like, okay, this is your role. You're sitting here and doing this. It's been, okay, you're coming out with me and we're going to meet these people. And he'll give me the rundown and kind of prepare me for what we're about to go into because I have no idea usually. And then I just feel pretty comfortable after that. And I feel like that's basically the way I've been learning so far. So
that's the way to do it.
Really great, yeah.
Well, I think we were, as part of your university program, we were supposed to do a feedback session on you, but you've just done one on us. So that's good. Okay, we know where we stand.
There you go.
And we're very grateful to have Jenna on the team. This is an industry with no rule book. It's let me start again. No instruction manual. I meant to say there. You get into it and there isn't a sort of 5-week program we take you through and you get spat out a competent broker at the other end. It's just not what we do. You learn in this industry through getting yelled at deep in the weeds, deep in the woods, and making mistakes and losing money. And we're trying to give Jenna the immersive experience into the industry while limiting some of those detrimental factors for new agents in our industry. So very thrilled to have you on. And we thank you for stopping by because you were stood over there watching us for a while and probably thought you're the last person we'd plonk into a chair and force to talk to us.
You didn't give me much time to think about it, but thank you for coming on and talking.
No, I had no choice, but I'm just kidding. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
One of the great things about these conferences is you get FaceTime with people that you typically don't know. I've never met Ben Young from Southwest Properties before, but somebody on our team knows him very well and has convinced him to come and talk to us.
That sounds great. I've never met him either, but let's meet him now. Ben, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
So can you tell us just a little bit about yourself and what your role is with Southwest?
Yep. So for those that don't know Southwest, we're a developer, multi-unit, res. Primarily, we have a few other interests as well, but mostly build and hold. So we self-perform our own work. We spend a lot of time on the peninsula. And as a result, everybody wants animation on the ground floor on the peninsula, so we end up with a lot of retail clients. We own a few hotels, and I like to tell everybody we own a small wine store as well, so that keeps us really sane. So that's what keeps us balanced. And I'm
that's
CEO.
the passion project, or
what's that?
The wine store is the
It's
passion,
project. It is. Yeah, it's going really well. Yeah, I spend a lot of time there because I'm totally committed to that part of the business.
That's awesome.
So I'm the CEO for the company, so I get my hands in a little bit of everything, which is fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And are you from Halifax originally?
I am. Yeah.
You live here now?
Yeah. I'm going to date myself, but I'm like soon to be 60, so 60 years in Halifax.
All right,
yeah.
right on.
So I've seen the city go through a lot of change. Yeah.
So what would you say, like, what's your favorite part of being here? Like, what kept you here, and what's kept you working here and business here, and why you love it here?
Yeah, so probably a couple different questions. Family kept me here, probably first and foremost. Sisters around here, my mother lives here, and single mom, so need a little bit of support as we were going up. So that kind of kept me grounded. As far as opportunity, when I started working, I mean, I did look at traveling abroad, but I think probably family was the deal breaker every time I looked at opportunities. And I like the city. Now the city's gone through quite a few changes. It was very vibrant when I was going to university, and there was a little bit of an exit from the city, and people started to move out into the burbs, and we lost some of the energy downtown. Yeah. But that has totally come all the way around, and I think anybody's walked around here over the last 10 years to see a big difference in the city. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
been really fun to see it change.
And like, just in talking on the change that you've seen over the years, where do you kind of see our city going forward in the future here, and what's up next for us?
Well, you know what's encouraging, you guys are much younger than me, but we're keeping young people in the city now. So that's super encouraging.
Historically, we've had a retention issue, haven't we?
We have had a real retention issue with young people. They would come to school here. It's a great place to come to school, and they would have a lot of fun, but they felt like there wasn't enough opportunity in the city. But as the city grows and you see our population growth, I think it's given them the confidence that, you know what, there's a future here for me, and I think it's great for the city. It's good energy, and I think that's contributed to the downtown coming back alive as well. You know, they want to be down to the action now. So it's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
And going to play devil's advocate here. What can we do better? We ask every guest this. We've been asking every guest this for 2 years now, and you know, we get a lot of the same answers, and that's good because that shows some common themes.
Safe answers? Is that what they are?
Well, anything you say that will get published.
Yeah.
No. So you know, what do you think we could do better? I'll give you an example. We had traffic today, for example, better traffic management. We get a lot about housing and transit, but what's in your opinion?
Yeah. So we're not quite big enough to have that real strong public transit system. And I think that will come with population growth, and Halifax is still ripe for population growth. So a lot of talk this morning, if you're in some of the sessions, you know, we're developers, we build cities, but we need government in order to build cities. So they're a big part of it, both on the approval side and how they tax and everything else. And you know, the government's realized now that it's not just here, it's everywhere. There's a housing crisis. Like this is not a Halifax issue. So I think if somebody wants to stand out, those levels of government are going to learn how to work with the developers really close, and the developers are going to have to learn how to work with governments really close. And if somebody gets that to me is the secret formula to making sure that your city continues to grow, so that you can continue to bring people in. Because let's face it, if there's no place to live, eventually people will stop coming here. It will be a real roadblock for them. So single thing is that level of collaboration. And
does that go both ways? Like, government needs to get on with development is one side better than the other typically?
No, you know what it is? It's so if I were going to look at in our company to have a really strong level underneath me, I need everybody in that room to feel super safe. So I present an issue, they're willing to come in and challenge me. We have very energetic debate about it, but when we leave the room, we all leave on the same page. So you get challenged, it's a healthy debate, and that's the dynamic that has to exist between the city and the developer. We have to be able to kind of take each other on, but when we leave the room, no, we're both on the same page. We're trying to build a city. That's essentially what it comes down to. And I think that ends up with better development in the city at the end of the day, because they understand policy and how they're trying to shape it. And we understand sort of individual microsites and what we're dealing with. So
So we have a few hours left at the Halifax Real Estate.
I don't know if I can give you a few hours.
No.
I thought I was just sitting down for a few minutes.
You in. You're here.
Ben, we're running till 7 p.m. tonight.
7 p.m. Just, you know, you can't leave.
This coffee's not going to get me all the way through. Then.
Oh yeah. So my last question would be, what do you find is the most valuable, you know, I guess, reason to keep coming back to this forum, and what do you find you get the most out of it? And is it seeing the people? Is it the speakers? Where do you find the value comes from this forum?
Yeah, I think it's the speakers and the networking, like getting outside in the hallways and being around other people that are in the same industry, and You get to hear about their problems and their successes face to face, and you don't get that dynamic online. I'm sorry, you just don't.
It's true.
So getting back in around, and people kind of get re-energized. It's good. And it's good to see everybody together, and the lenders, so we've got a couple projects on the go. So very convenient. They're in town at a real estate convention, and they want to look at our projects, so they can get a lot of things done all in one visit, right? And we can too. So yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us. We
pleasure.
really appreciate it, Ben.
Absolutely.
And
you guys stay in the city. Remember, you're much younger than me, and you're next generation.
We're going nowhere. We're going nowhere.
I love it here. I love it here. I love it. Well, James, I think that is a wrap on our first ever live podcast at the Atlantic Real Estate Forum. We are super grateful for the Atlantic Real Estate Forum and its organizing committee for allowing us to be here and to set up, to our amazing producers at Podstarter for being here all day with us and fully set up with all the pro equipment. You'd love to see it. You won't see all of it on because the camera's facing our way, but behind the scenes, there's a lot going on. We're super thrilled. I think there's a lot of great photos of us taken today as well.
We will follow with the cameras. We'll
be using on LinkedIn. There's pictures with pictures. It's awesome. Big thank you to our guests that came on as well. This was a lot of fun.
Seriously, thanks to the guests, because again, we just sort of grabbed people, and that was the point of this, was we didn't want any sanitized, pre-cleansed, planned interviews. We just thought we'll pull people out of their day and grill them. Yeah. And everybody was extremely kind and generous with their time. And we promise no tough questions in return for that.
We made it fun and friendly. And like you said, understandably, they're extremely busy with meetings and sessions and all whatnot. But to take a few minutes of their day to come talk to us, we really appreciate that. And big thank you to everybody that was involved with the production today. Looking forward to the rest of the conference. Like I said, we have a few hours left. Jeez, time is flying. A few hours
of the formal program left, and then the evening program has no agenda, and sometimes it just has no end.
Yeah, no time frame. Hopefully there's no Irish exits tonight. Thank you once again for tuning in to the Matter of Facts podcast.
But you can get more of us. You can subscribe on any good podcast provider. You can follow us on Instagram at Matter of Facts Podcast. And for all that great feedback and abuse, you can send it by email to halifaxpodcast@gmail.com.
And of course, you can always find James Collins and I on the internet.
Please do get in touch, and we look forward to seeing you next time.